as you can see here on this image, Tuleap is the central entry point where developers, agile people, businesses, project leaders, testers will meet and work together, choosing the tools by project. Tuleap offers a panel of tools for project management. You will be able to make your Eclipse project more agile with Kanban and Scrum tools. But if you already work with a more waterfall-oriented management, you can have the both aspects, the both methodology on the same platform. Regarding the issue tracking, Tuleap provides a very powerful issue tracking. You will be able to track a bug, task, user story, requirement, everything you want to track. At Enaline, for instance, we are tracking our vacation with the issue tracking. So we custom fields to suit to our needs. And this issue tracking is really the more powerful tool on which other tools on Tuleap are based on. For instance, we will see that the Scrum area as well as the Kanban are based on the issue tracking. Regarding the development chain, so this times it's more for the developers, you have several tools at your disposition and each project can choose between all the tools. You can use Git. It's an integrated Git, not simply a bridge between a Git and a Tuleap. Git is really integrated into Tuleap. The benefit is when you will be able to create user groups and permission, they will be replicated in your Git. So the user control and access control is managed by Tuleap and facilitated by the replication on the other tools. If you are working with Subversion, you can choose between the two tools. About the pull request for code review, you have to choose between the Gerrit tool and pull request. That's a new feature. I will be happy to go more in depth about this feature. There is also a Jenkins integration, so you can check your continuous integration status from the Tuleap dashboard. Now regarding, yes, I forgot to mention that there is a Mylin plugin to give a bridge between your Eclipse and the Tuleap tracker. Tuleap offers also a document area to write simple documents because sometimes you don't need SharePoint or two-featured tools like that for your small project. And even if it's a big project, you don't need a large feature or over-feature tools. So Tuleap is full open source. All is provided under GPL license. You can download it by your own or use the Tuleap platform available for Eclipse project. So why Tuleap? Because there are so many tools on the market. So why an additional tool? Because perhaps you are bored and tired to switch between two tools and to copy-paste issue status between your Bugzilla and another issue tracking, because you have to focus on where you are the best, not copy-pasting things, but develop and make your brilliant ideas happen. So the aim is to make easier the configuration and the launch of a new project. So you have here all the tools you need, and you choose what you want to use. What's important with Tuleap is each project member is autonomous. You don't have to await for the super administration global approval of the platform to configure your issue tracking, to add a field, to change the layout. You are really autonomous. And it's full open source. Do you know a full open source application lifecycle management at the D-Day? Yes, you know Tuleap. but that's the only on the market, and I'm very proud of it. As developers, you have plenty of tools at your disposition, but you know that to make a project come a real product, you have also to involve in your project businesses and project managers that can share your feedback and make you enhance your development. So getting the whole scope of your project, getting a global view of what you are working on is really important, and not stay focused like that on the code you're making. It's really great to see how it will be launched in the real market. So the aim is to Tuleap is to collaborate with your colleagues and not to stay on the code only. So all people at the very large level is involved and can have the information they want to have. About the release process, we have one release per month. No, in fact, we have 140 releases per month. These are there are incremental releases using Docker, RPM, and plenty of tools. My CTO will be very happy to share with you. We have lots of incremental release, and when I say we have one release a month, it's because once a month we deliver to all the community a new package to update your platform with a release note where you can have new features, labs feature still under development, and bug fix. Here some of the Tuleap users. Perhaps if you attend the last Eclipse Con in June in France, you attend the story of Airbus. So Tuleap is in fact used both by large company, public organization or public project, but also by small teams, because in fact realize that whether you have a team of 10 people or 1,000 users, you need a good workspace, a good workflow to help you make the best code. So whatever you are working in a small company or large company or even a project, you can use your Tuleap. About Eclipse, there's a Tuleap platform available for the Eclipse project at tuleap.eclipse.org. This platform is hosted by the foundation and sponsored by Enalin. So we are in charge of maintaining this platform. You can create a new account and sign in with your Eclipse account. Automatically, this creates a new account in Tuleap. You ask for a new project, and once it's validated, you already have a ready to use workspace, and you can configure it and use it with your colleagues. Here are some hosted projects, Porasys or KPI. If you want to know more about this platform, you can get in touch with Gael or I, or perhaps Philippe. He's able to help you in building your project on this platform. So rapidly, I come back on the project management. So as I mentioned, both agile teams and not agile teams can work with Tuleap. Here, for instance, for agile people, you have a Kanban. So what's a Kanban? Yes, it's a board with several columns, but please don't believe that moving cards from a column to another is Kanban. No, it's too simplistic. Some tools said they enable to implement Kanban approach because they enable to take a card and to move in from left to right, but it's not Kanban. In the pure Kanban from Japan, This methodology has to streamline your workflow, has to help you finish things. So behind this simple board, there is a workflow you have configured. What's a workflow? It will help you to focus at the same time on work in order to make things going very rapidly from the left to the right. So here in the example, you have a work in progress. A work in progress column. This column is really important. You can limit the number of cards by column in order to say, oh, I would be happy to start a new thing, because I have to be honest, I like starting new things. But for my team health, I have to help my colleague finishing already open tasks. So if you want to take a card and to say, okay, I finished my work, I'm going to start a new one, you will be alerted that you should not do that in order to make it fluent. So Kanban have to streamline, have to help you finish things, okay? Perhaps you have heard about Scrum. Tuleap enables to help you organize your release by milestone. Perhaps you don't want to call your methodology Scrum. It doesn't matter. Don't tell Scrum. And you can configure how many milestones you are. For instance, by default, Tuleap provide a default Scrum workspace where you have release and sprint for the time slot, and you have epic user stories and tasks to make your backlog organized. But if you want to make it simpler, you can. So once again, Tuleap provide you one sort of methodology, but make it yours, the agile way you want. I will not give you a demo here because it's not the subject, but if you want, I can show you how to manipulate the Scrum, the burn-down chart, and the card wall in order to better appropriate the features. About the issue tracking, what's it's important, as I said just before, is that you don't have to wait times if you want to rename a jargon, if you want to add a field, if you want to create a new user group and to configure the permission. In Tuleap, project team get the power. The issue tracking enables you to create report, charts, bar, card wall, burn down, so you can filter data to make them more visually. And one of the new features is a Tracker Query Langage, so you can create advanced query to exactly retrieve the issue you are searching. This is an example of the integration of Tuleap into Eclipse. I think this has been developed by Ericsson and should be maintained already by Ericsson team. So choosing here the development tools you want to work with, you will be able to administrate your Git from Tuleap. And what's important is the traceability. What's the traceability? It's the ability to go into the depth of a development project and to link a Git commit to a bug, perhaps to a pull request, to a document, to a user story. Well, this is not in the good order, but it's just an example to show you that you have to be able to trace everything. For audit trail compliance, if you are working in industry ISO or industry standards, but also for history reason. If you wonder why this bug has already been submitted, tracing all the life cycle of the project, you will be able to understand why it linked to a Git commit or to perhaps a discussion in a forum, for instance. So Tuleap providing one single entry point enabled to link all the project items back to each other. It provides two wikis, Media Wiki and PHP Wiki, as well as a simple document area. So each project team can have a document area with an approval workflow if you want to submit a new document and to specify this team has to proofread before we locked. You can configure this. So these are already tools already available for times, but for a few months, these are the new features. So you can now connect your Mattermost server to a Tuleap. You can make code review with pull requests and query issue tracking with TQL, and import your data from Bugzilla into Tuleap. So, about the Mattermost integration, the aim is, of course, to keep your team into the loop. Mattermost is an open source Slack alternative. I think there is one at your disposal, I'm not sure, but I think. And this new integration enables to send Scrum updates into the channel you decided. So before the stand-up or just after, you can choose when these news are sent. When the development team meets, done the stand-up, updates the issue, and updates the card wall, a report is automatically sent in your Mattermost channel. From your Mattermost channel, you can directly access the card wall and all the information about the updated sprints reports. That's the same thing with Git. As soon as there is a new Git push, the development team can be informed about everything that has been pushed. I will show you how is this being configured in Tuleap. So I hope, no, doesn't work. Great. Ah, happy news. So I'm here at the global administration level. So I will create a new bot. I specify the bot name, of course, and the URL of the Mattermost server. That's it. And then in your project, so I will enter a project as a simpler user. I go into the Git. And by repo, I can set the notification and choose in which channel of Mattermost I want to send information. Here's the channel. So here, as soon as a new push occurs in this project, the R&D, IT and design channel will be informed. Now for the Agile, I'm going once again in a project and the Agile dashboard administration of a project. And I do the same thing. Really easy, really very valuable. Here specified when I want to send the Scrum report. And here we are. Is that clear? Yeah. Now, about the pull request. In Tulip, for the moment, you had Git tool. So Git tool is a very powerful tool to make code review. It's used by Android projects and many other open source projects, but sometimes it's seen as too complex. So we decided to make a simple code review tool with the Git pull request. So by default, Git doesn't offer this possibility. So it's an additional feature put on Git. So I'm here in a project, I go in Git, and I can see two things. I can create a pull request, and I can have a global view of all the open requests for this repo. So I can enter a repo and discuss changes with my colleagues, either on the global repos that have been pushed, or really precisely by lines. So on the right for you, these are conversation very precise on specific lines, and on the left, a global discussion about the repo. That's very simple, and once colleagues are okay, you have to merge, and that's it. You improve really your code just by this simple workflow. I come about the traceability. Here I'm in an issue, so I'm in the issue tracker of Tuleap, and if I see the bug form, I can see all the related work item linked to this bug. So I can see that he has been linked to a sprint, to a release, to a task, and I can see he has linked as well to a pull request. So clicking on this cross-link, I go back to the pull request and better understand and continue all my journey about the development life of the bug. About the issue tracking now, we decided to develop advanced query language. So the TQL is a custom language used on Tuleap trackers, and it's inspired by SQL. Perhaps you wonder why I put a funny dog like that. It's because TQL, in France, we call it Tekel, Dachshund. So we do a lot of joke with that at home. So I wanted to share it with you. Don't matter. So how it works. You can run complex queries about dates, operators, or dynamic search. You can create search and save it to make it available to the whole team. So you can create query as assigned to myself, and sharing this query, all people using it will be able to have all the artifacts assigned to them. And all the search area is used as well in the reports. So here, the chart and the pie use the submitted on request to visualize only the issue link answering this request. It's the same thing in the card roll view. So here an example of the search you can do. So you can use the small label of each field. If you don't know, clicking here, it's automatically use the code name to the request. You can see a thing? Yeah. So specify the date, launch the search, and here I am. And the tab chart, as I mentioned, will take into account the search done above. So you can save the church and either keep it as personal search or share them to the whole team. Okay. This is a myself example. Okay, here we are. If you want to move from your Bugzilla to Tulip, you can import all your data with all the attachments and all the comments and to integrate them into Tulip. Yeah, the big majority of fields are imported, and once imported into Tulip, you have an history link to link to your Bugzilla here. Git project is now hosted on tulip.eclipse.org, so they decided to migrate from Bugzilla to Tulip. But of course, they wanted to trace the history. So during the migration, they specify that they want to have the Bugzilla ID and the Bugzilla URL. If you don't want to move completely from a tool to another, you can synchronize it. You can make Bugzilla and Tulip talk to each other. If you want to enable your user to log in new requests in Bugzilla, you can, and to you work on your Tulip for creating easier Kanban or going into the depth about the workflow. You can have the two tools in parallel. And just to keep you informed about the other things or the other cool stuff about Tulip, there is now a new test management tool. So for the moment, it's like a preview because it will come in about 15 days. And the aim is to make manual campaign easy. So of course, you have automated tests and continuous integration that facilitate your work. But the manual testing is still necessary for an automatable scenario you can't make automated. So it's based on the issue tracking, and we visually see things differently. So you can create a regular campaign and reuse it from a release to another. You can have a visual graph of all the links to have a visual traceability of all the tests linked to the requirements, linked to the bug, and to continue the journey in the issue linked to the test. And we wanted to make it fun, to make happy the team to the validation day, because it's like it has to be make it funny. So in order to make test management as a team game, we create a podium for tester. So we use in the Tulip team Tulip test management to our validation. We have about 250 tests by month. So all the company, including I, not developer, pass the test and play with this easy test tool. So we are very happy to be, of course, on the podium, and we cut by 2. Our CTO said we cut by 2 the time spent on the test, because of course more rewards equals more engagement about us, and more engagement equals more tests and fewer bugs. So thinking carrots and not sticks is very sympathetic. Here we are for the test management. It's just a quick overview because it's not yet available on the tulip.eclipse.org platform. We have the next TulipCon next year in March in Lyon. So it will be a pleasure to welcome you. If you want to come, please don't hesitate. So now the ball is in you. So make your Eclipse project more agile. If you want to just discover Tuleap, you can create a new project and play with it, or you can install it by your own, or play with demo servers. There is a demo server with already configured and already full of data projects you can play with. Do you have any question? I'm finished for me. Okay. So if you want to know more, I'm just here around until tomorrow morning. Thank you.